Hello, my name is Durga Bohr. I live at 7580 Willow Creek Road in Ulysses, and I was going to prepare something really good and really scientific and do a lot of research and document it because I've heard many programs, particularly a breakdown of the toxic soup that they want to pump into our soil and our bedrock. And an analysis of individual chemicals in that toxic soup that lead to this cancer and that cancer, and we did get a good sample of that already. And I'm not a scientist, but I have a runoff well. We made 2 attempts to drill a deep spring water well. It's not happening on my property, but there's an abundance of runoff. And my cistern is no deeper than 6 feet below ground. And if anything spilled into the water, my house would be finished. My property would be finished. Yeah, we'd have to leave. It would become valueless. My house would become valueless. And this is a real fright because uphill, I live on I live on a slope, and things run downhill, as we know. And it's worrisome enough when I see the farmer up the hill spraying his corn with pesticides, and I wonder how much of that is going into my water. But it's going to be worse when this cocktail goes into our ground. There's a lot of private property all the way up to Jacksonville Road above me, a vacant property, great, and the sonogram people were there, a couple years ago checking out our whole area, this whole piece of Ulysses by where I live. And so my real concern is water. And then you hear further about the air and the air pollution, and that even goes, beyond that. Because we can live maybe, a few days without water, but we can't live very long without air. And I mean, there's real two words that I want to leave this group with, and if you don't know about it, you need to find out about it, and that's Dish, Texas.
Hi, I'm Kathy Bear. I live at 6010 Cold Springs Road. I'm up by the old chicken barns, and I personally, I'm a teacher at the elementary school. I love my job. I love the area. I don't have a lot of money, but I have enough to live in a little house with clean water, my little well, and my clean air, and I don't need tens of thousands of dollars to be happy. I guess maybe I can understand that some people maybe need some money to pay the taxes on their farms. I do get that, but this whole idea of all this so-called money and jobs that are supposed to come into our area, it just doesn't ring true. Talking about all the health issues that everybody's talked about, I won't go over those again. But I'm sitting there at Cold Springs Road, watching, the Willie's water truck coming up, several times a day, and tapping onto the end of the Ithaca water line is right there across from Babcock's driveway. Filling that thing up, and I'm thinking to myself, that could just as easily be those trucks that need so much water. They need so much water for each one of these wells. They're just going to be coming up and down Cold Springs Road all the time, getting those tanks filled with water. I mean, Willie's there all the time, and he's just filling up swimming pools, So, and that road isn't going to take very much before it's all crunched up into nothing. And, so even this so-called money and jobs that we're supposed to be getting, I just don't see it. I just, running the numbers and looking at it, I just don't see where it's going to do anything except end up costing us, again, not talking about even the health and the air and the environment, which is huge, but just the plain old dollars of it's going to cost us a lot to what, are they going to pay us then to fix the roads? I don't think so. And if what the article in the New York Times talked about, that this is nothing more than a big Ponzi scheme, these little companies suddenly they go bankrupt, then we are going to go and get some money for them to fix all the stuff that they're going to mess. I don't think so. I don't want it, and I support you in what you're doing, and I think we just have to fight it. That's all we have to do. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Chris Kale. I live at 3110 Du Bois Road in the town of Ulysses. And we have 24 acres of land there, and said no when the landmen came around, one of the few in our neighborhood. But I want to actually address you, carrying on from the last speaker, in my role as the chair of the gas drilling subcommittee of the policy committee of NOFA New York, which is the Northeast Organic Farming Association of New York State. We've taken policy positions on gas drilling the past 2 years. We have a tremendous amount of concern for the health of the organic industry. It is currently the largest segment, excuse me, let me rephrase that. The fastest growing segment of agriculture in our state, and it is among the largest of the farms in Ulysses. We have a large number of farms that are certified organic here in Ulysses. We have genuine concerns about the marketability of product. We have already seen major buyers, and of course, we have a large distributor, regional access of organic foods within our boundaries as well, has been helped out by the economic development folks who see it as a growth industry in our region as well as in our township. These are the industries that our comprehensive plan says that we're interested in promoting, and I'm here to tell you that that at least the organic segment of agriculture in New York State is extremely concerned about the effects on the industry of gas drilling, both from the point of view that there may be issues and problems that would directly affect their certification. I sat on the management committee of the certification component of NOFA New York for 4 years. We get audited regularly. We're required now to actually do residue testing, and if our organic farmers find residues in their product, they can lose their organic certification, which is, you know, a death blow to their business. In addition to that, we also have issues of customer acceptance. We've already found that many of the larger buyers in the New York City area are essentially issuing ultimatums saying that they are intending to source from outside of the Marcellus Shale area if gas drilling is allowed within this area. So we have an interest in keeping the businesses that we have here in town healthy, and I applaud you for doing that. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Stephen Penningroth. I live at 2080 Cayuga View Road, and I would like to thank the town board for taking this action. Just one thought I'd like to share that occurred to me while I was listening to other speakers, and that is that I think the issue of hydrofracking represents a failure of government. It's a failure of government on the state level and a failure of government on the federal level. Fortunately, we have local government that is not failing us, okay? It's supporting us. And I would like to note that according to things I've read on the internet, I hope it's true, hydrofracking has been banned in Australia, South Africa, and France, and Germany's considering a ban. So there are places that are looking at the risks, or rather the lack of knowledge about the risks, and taking decisive action. And I hope that this kind of concern reaches the state level and the federal level soon. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the opportunity to participate in a democratic process, and thank you all very much for being here tonight. I just have a short statement that I'd like to say. If God is with us here tonight, and I happen to believe that God is, then what we are doing here now may be the single most courageous act of this century. I know it sounds a little grandiose, but I'm a little grandiose. Wide-scale corporate takeover of a people's land, air, and water for profit, unencumbered by laws we must obey, is criminal. To poison entire watersheds, create huge blocks of landscape that spew forth carcinogens like the play by our neighbors in Pennsylvania, is poisoning us right now. Likewise, our surface land and water, aquifers, some still unmapped in Tompkins County, and forests, wildlife habitat, and life support system for our vibrant agriculture is in serious jeopardy. All of these threats to our homeland is a form of corporate tyranny. Like our ancestors, this is a call to action, to revolt against this toxic tyranny. As a township in the vanguard of this revolt, I think we should advertise our stand with signs at our borders, warning away the forces that may be unleashed by our public servants in Albany in this wave of lawless corporatism. We have stood up to it if we do what is right here tonight. We are all heroes here, beginning our peaceful fight, not with weapons of violence as our foes have, but with love. Love for our children, love for our fellow Ulyssians, love for our natural communities that give us life, and most important, love for our perceived enemies, whose misguided, syphilitic concept of progress has inspired us to create this new revolution. Viva la revolución.
Oh, excuse me, Peter. We need your name. His name is Dan Bergevin. And we need your name and address, Dan.
Okay. My name is Daniel Bergevin. I live on 8 McClellan Street in Trumansburg, New York.
Thank you. Just a reminder to everybody, we need your name and address for the record. Thanks for the statements, though.
My name is John Gertschy. I live at 19 Washington Street here in the Village, and I'm a cancer survivor so far. And there may be others in the audience tonight. I suspect there are. One thing that cancer is great for, and that is giving you perspective. And from my perspective, it's a measure of how out of whack our society's gotten that we're even considering something like hydrofracking in this area. So I don't have a long speech about it, but my perspective is that it's really an insane thing to even be thinking about. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Michael Deneen. I live in the town of Ovid, but I'm concerned about not having fracking in any towns in New York. But I just wanted to say one thing that was on my mind, because I know that you all have been concerned about that there may be a subsequent court case that arises from this ordinance. And I don't know if this is just my thinking on it, but I don't know if it gets translated into a legal argument, but I know that the state has, through state laws, has given towns the ability to make comprehensive plans and encourages towns in the development of comprehensive plan. And a comprehensive plan allows a community to envision what they want their community to be like. You know, Ulysses has made a very clear and beautiful comprehensive plan. And one thing that occurs to me is, you know, that people are saying, well, this won't stand up in court. But I think if this doesn't stand up in court, it makes a joke out of any kind of comprehensive plan. I mean, if a town, if they say, go ahead and make a comprehensive plan for your town, what do you want your town to look like? And you say, oh, this is what we want our town to this. We want our economy to look like this. We want the visual part of our county to look like, or our town to look like. But then they say, okay, well, but at the same time, we're going to allow this industry that's absolutely destructive to everything that you've said in your comprehensive plan to come into your town, and you can't do anything about it. That just strikes me as ridiculous. Why even have any laws encouraging towns to have comprehensive plans when they can just come in and say, well, we're just running all that moot, we're bringing in the big boys, and we're drilling, and there's nothing you can do about it. Anyway, I wanted to encourage you guys to be strong, and you're going to stand up to the people who are arguing against you in court, and I think you're definitely going to win. And we're behind you. And I want to thank Mariette in particular, because I think I love the clarity of the ordinance you ended up putting together. Thank you. You did a lot of work on that.
My name is Jan Quarles. I live at 7342 Wyers Point Road in Ovid, New York. And I'm part of Back to Democracy, which has been meeting at the Trumansburg Fire Hall for 8 years on a monthly basis. All of our meetings are free, and they're about the concerns of the community that come forward. It's a place to meet and talk about issues that we want to talk about, and especially based on the principle of people's right for self-determination to create their own futures. And I feel so honored to be part of this process. The Ulysses Gas Drilling Advisory Board, Ken Zesterson, invited Back to Democracy to join with them a year ago and do this door-to-door campaign, gather signatures to see what did the community feel about fracking. And we found even people who had signed leases in Trumansburg were really regretting it. They were really scared. They felt that, from what they had heard from other states, that they weren't going to be treated fairly, and they didn't think it was worth it. So we were overwhelmed with the support for a ban, and we worked with the town board, and I just want to thank all of you for being so receptive and so professional and so patient through this process. It was unprecedented. But I also want people in the room to know that that was the beginning, but it wasn't the end of our work. And since then, we've been contacted by activists in a lot of other towns across New York State, and they say, oh, we heard that you guys did a campaign and petitioned your board. We just thought that that was up to the state, and we just gave up. And now we realize we can actually have the power to ban it, and because Ulysses took this step. And so we were contacted by groups of activists in Enfield and Dryden and Caroline and Danby, and we met with them over the course of the past few months, and they're all doing their campaigns now. And several towns are already working on bans in the Catskills. The city of Buffalo has already banned fracking, and now there are dozens and dozens of towns across New York State writing bans, as well as counties. So I just want to say I feel it's such an honor to be part of this. It's like this is what democracy looks like. Thank you so much.
I just came here to listen tonight, but I guess that changed. I want to say two things. The lovely British man who was concerned that the landowners aren't here or the opposition isn't here, they had a chance to be here. It's a public, open meeting, and maybe they are here and just aren't speaking. I don't know, but they have an opportunity. And frankly, it's about balance. Everything has to be balanced. We all have to listen to all sides. This is an issue. I don't think there's any balance, not for me anyway. It's like we're not on a teeter-totter. We need to get rid of this idea right here because this is going to ruin, I mean, they're fracking, 30-some states and all over the world? But so their balance also is the lobbyists. They have millions of dollars in lobby money. that is going for their voice. So I'm not really concerned about their balance or their opportunity, because it is here if they want it. The other thing that concerns me about myself and about my friends who are concerned about this, but maybe they haven't called a legislator, maybe they haven't written a letter, but I think we get rid of some of our anxiety by sitting around talking about it, but maybe not doing much. I wonder if at some point we all have to be out in the streets more. Maybe there's more activism, more actual presence. I don't know what the letters and the phone calls do. The legislature has passed, the Assembly passed some regulations, but the Senate is firm. They haven't budged. Maybe they're just waiting until the S-Geist is out. I think they are. But I went to 2 rallies this spring and where Sandra Steinbraber talked, and there were a few hundred people there. But I think we may need thousands in the streets. People in France are out in the thousands. People in other countries, they're not. I'm not advocating revolution in that respect. I'm not ready to go to jail yet, but I'm not a tree hugger. But I might be a derrick. I mean, I might see myself climbing a gas rail. I don't know, but I think that we may get to a point where we have to do more than the talking and the letter writing and the calling and the phoning, because I don't trust them. A lot of them I just don't trust. They listen and they nod, and even Governor Cuomo says, water is sacrosanct, all water is sacrosanct, everything's going to be safe, and blah, blah. But I don't know. Do we trust them? And when will they really, what will make them understand? I guess that's what I don't know yet. But maybe a big presence in the streets will. I mean, we don't have to bring the buildings down, but you know what I mean. I just was a little disappointed this spring when there were just a few hundred people at some of these rallies. And we need lots of buses and lots of people, I think.
So 2 things. One,
I'm done.
That's the end of your time. And 2, we need your name again.
Oh, yes. It's Nedra Harvey. I live in Rochester. I grew up here, and I own a place in Iredell Road.
Thank you. All right, it's 8:29, and before we close the hearing, I want to ask if there's anyone else here who would like to make a statement. Feel free. And if you don't feel like you'd like to make an oral statement again, please feel free to make one either by email or handing it in writing to the town clerk at the town hall. Again, we're going to take those comments. We have been taking them for the past 2 weeks, and we'll take them until the 6th of July. And again, if you know anyone of any particular opinion at all who wants to be heard, please encourage them to send in their comments. Okay? If there's no one else that would like to speak, it's 8:30, and the hearing is now concluded. Oh, somebody does want to speak?
I have a question, and I heard tonight that we have until Friday, so we have 2 days to call our legislators regarding the CTA. Could you just fill us in on that information?
Well, I need to close the public hearing now, but then you could speak with us afterwards if you like.
I hope everybody does, because of this Friday, we need to call tomorrow.
And I want to thank everyone for attending, and I'd also like to thank the Trumansburg School for allowing us the use of their facility. So thank you very much for coming.
I have one quick question. When are you going to vote on this particular issue? Can you tell us that?
I did.
Oh, you did? I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
Oh, right. Okay. Right. So, again, answering that question, I said this, covered this in the beginning, but I'll just repeat it for those who might not have been here at the beginning.
Okay.
The proposed local law is currently on the agenda for action at the town board meeting on Wednesday, August 10th.
Wednesday, August 10th.
Yeah, the meeting is at 7 at Town Hall. And
7 p.m.
Right.
Town Hall.
If there's some need to change that schedule, we will be discussing it and make a decision on July 12th. We need to let all the steps of the required process go through when you're doing a local law like this.
Okay. Thank you.
That's what drives the timeline.
Very good. Thank you.